Inosuke's father is the demon he fought himself at Mount Natagumo, the spider demon. That would be my guess. I've got many reasons to believe this, so let's get started. First, their appearance. Their heads don't actually belong to them. As for Inosuke, everyone knows he's wearing a mask. But what about the spider demon, you might be asking yourself? Well, the thing is, the spider demon was borrowing his head from another demon. Let me elaborate. Pay attention to the antenna on his face. The tip is sharp, as you can see here. This is a characteristic you only see with female spiders. If the head belonged to a male spider, the tip of the antenna would be round. Furthermore, his hair is really long. It looks like a woman's hair, so it doesn't add up. The body is clearly male, but the head seems to be female. Maybe he borrowed the head from some other demon? But who? My guess would be the brother spider. From the looks of it, I think he's modeled after a silk spider. When Zenitsu sees him, he keeps saying how big he is. Gotouge sensei wanted to emphasize the fact that this thing was huge. But the thing about silk spiders is, the female spider is way bigger than the male spider, but the head is clearly male, so the body is female, but the head is male. That's right, it's the opposite of what we saw with the father spider. Now take a look at both of them. Don't you think that they would both look more natural if the head was swapped? So maybe Rui swapped their heads, and I can think of a few reasons why he'd do that. If we only consider facts that have been confirmed, when a demon fails to serve its purpose, Rui takes away its ability to think, and sometimes the role they play in their family. Maybe, initially he wanted him to play the part of the father, but he was too immature, so he demoted him to the big brother. Also, there's more. These two, they both use two swords. Everyone knows Inosuke is a dual wielder, but the spider we see on the right, it's controlled by some strings, but that's pretty much all we know. Some might say he's not the father demon, but if you ask me, that was the father's remains after he shed his skin. It was pretty strong, so they decided to use it for combat. And another thing, when cut by the Nichirin blade, he turned into ashes and disappeared, so that means he's a demon. But he's not self-aware, so, by process of elimination, I've come to believe that it was the father's remains after he shed his skin. So, having said that, they're both dual wielders. As you can see here, they look identical, no shirt, two blades. Let's look at the first scene the father demon appears in. The sister demon yells out, "Dad!" Then Inosuke says, "I'm not your father." Then the father makes an entrance. It was kind of a funny scene, but if everything I said today is true, this line takes on a whole different meaning. At a glance, it's nothing more than a joke, but maybe it's a hidden message from Gotouge sensei. Scary, right? Moving on, now I'm gonna talk a bit about Inosuke's family. That means this wasn't in the anime. There will be some spoilers. It's nothing huge, but if you don't like spoilers, you may want to stop the video here. Okay, ready? I'm gonna talk to you about Inosuke's father now. Inosuke's father abused his wife, Inosuke's mother. He grabbed her hair like this, as you can see here. This is the same way the spider demon abuses his family. And Inosuke's mother lost sight in one of her eyes due to the abuse. And the mother spider, she injured one of her eyes as well. This leads me to believe that Inosuke's father and the father spider, they're the same person. And Inosuke's father and his mother, so Inosuke's grandmother, they both end up getting killed by Doma, and he leaves them behind in the mountains. And this mountain, maybe it was Mount Natagumo, but then this raises another question. Doma thinks he killed them both, so that means he can't turn into a demon, right? In some cases, the demon thinks it killed its victim, but the victim was still alive. We've seen this many times, for instance Muzan in the beginning. Nezuko was alive. Let's think about Inosuke as well. Gyutaro was so sure that he killed him, but he was alive. And Inosuke's mother? She released him into the river so he could escape. Normally you'd think the baby would die, but somehow Inosuke made it out alive. So as we can see here, everyone in Inosuke's family, they're survivors. Doma ordered his subordinates to take them to the mountains, so he probably didn't check to make sure that they were actually dead. They appeared to be dead, but I guess not. And this would mean that it was a male and a female, so the body and the head being swapped? This starts to make sense. But Muzan was watching Doma, so he might have noticed and said, "They're still alive. This might be interesting." And since Rui is in charge of Mount Natagumo, if I can turn them into a demon, maybe I'll give them to him as a gift. Rui always wanted a family, so we've seen Muzan visiting Rui many times. He knew Inosuke's family was tough, so he wanted to turn them and give them to Rui as a gift. This is all just speculation, so I might be wrong. I probably am, but why did Goto Uge Sensei specifically say that he threw them away in the mountain? Is it just a coincidence? I don't know. Why not just say he killed them? Why mention the mountain at all? I guess we'll never know. Furthermore, when Inosuke was fighting the father spider, when Inosuke was on the brink of death, the image of his mother flashes before his eyes. So I don't think it's a coincidence. I think Goto Uge Sensei planned all this. If all of this was a coincidence, then that'd be kinda creepy too. Also, what his grandpa said to him when he was raising him in the mountains? There's this scene where he's reading a book, and in the last clip, he says, "Nagakumo Gana." Nagakumo, Natagumo? Is it just me, or is there some kind of hidden message behind this? And if the father spider is Inosuke's father, the theme behind Mount Natagumo would make more sense. The main theme we saw at Mount Natagumo was family bonds. From Tanjiro and Zenitsu's perspective, Tanjiro and Tanjiro were related by blood and had a strong bond. Zenitsu and his grandpa, although not related by blood, they also had a strong bond. Rui and the father spider, not related by blood and no bond. So that leaves us with one pattern. Related by blood, no bond. If my theory is correct, then they become the last piece of the puzzle. The relationship between a father and a son. This would cover all the patterns and wrap up the theme of Mount Natagumo quite nicely. At least that's what I think. And this is just my personal opinion, but ultimately it was Giyu who took out the father spider. Maybe Goto Uge Sensei did this out of love. I mean, even if he didn't know. Sensei didn't want Inosuke to kill his own father. Maybe that's why Giyu-san came into the picture, to protect Inosuke. Another thing that caught my attention, if Sensei wanted to showcase Giyu-san's strength and the power of the Hashiras, why not just put him up against Rui from the beginning? He took out the father spider before that happened, and Inosuke says he's on a whole different level. So when it was time for Giyu versus Rui, as for Rui, even Tanjiro was able to put up a good fight, so it wasn't hard to imagine Giyu-san would win. I don't think people were that worried, you know? So this made it kinda predictable, but instead Sensei made him take out the father spider first. My guess is Sensei didn't want to get Inosuke's hands dirty. That's what I think. Anyways, the odds of me being right about all this, I'd say it's about 30% at best. But again, there are a lot of reasons to back up my theory, so maybe Sensei had something similar in mind, but decided to go with a different story. But parts of the story that didn't see the light of day got left behind like this. Maybe that's what happened. I guess we'll never really know for sure, but it's always fun to think about this kind of stuff. And just to be clear, I'm not trying to prove that my theory is right. I'm probably wrong about a lot of these things, but it's just so much fun to think about. And it's all thanks to Goto Uge Sensei for being so attentive to detail. I just have so much fun when I'm thinking about the things I love, you know? So honestly, I don't care if I'm wrong. I just enjoy this, and I hope you did too. So to sum this up, his mother is now gone, and his father, well, you know what he's like, but he's not lonely. His grandpa, who raised him in the mountains, Tanjiro, Zenitsu, Nezuko, Hisa, Rengoku-san. Throughout the entire tale of Demon Slayer, he was able to make so many new friends and unbreakable bonds. And I'm so glad he did. And from Tanjiro's perspective, Zenitsu and Inosuke, they're an irreplaceable part of his life, just like Takeo, Shigeru, Rokuta. At least that's what I think. That's it for today. See you in the next video. That's all for now. For more Demon Slayer theories, please like and subscribe for more videos. See you soon.